Okay, we're not. No, I'm not going to let the silence go on too long. It's a Co-Pilots podcast, brought to you by Silence.
Oh, I thought you were going to do like a fake sponsor thing. Brought to you by Squarespace. Hang on,
wish.
my microphone's a bit wonky. Adjustments. There we go. Hello. So the OA's fucking weird.
Yeah. Right, let's just get straight into the OA.
Because
the
what the fuck did I watch?
Like, the thing is, I don't know if like it just made me feel stupid or not. Because I didn't really, I sort of followed most of it, and then there was just like, you know that bit at the end where it goes Netflix presents the OA. I was like, have we just watched like the opening credits?
Is this like 4 hours long?
Yeah, but then I just don't know if it's me being stupid or it's just confusing as fuck.
I don't think it is being stupid. I think it's playing its cards very close to its chest. So the start of it is you see like a video that's been filmed on a phone of a girl jumping off a bridge seemingly to her death, and then
she doesn't die.
Comes back home. She turns up back at her mum and dad's home after 7 years with scars on her back and won't
and sight.
Yeah, because she was
the
blind.
Ability to see,
and as you can see, and then her and she's desperate for Wi-Fi. And I just there's a whole section where she's just going mad because she can't connect to the Wi-Fi. What the fuck is going on?
yeah, like that's. I mean, I understand the need for Wi-Fi. Like, it is important. If I came out of hospital, I was like, I can see finally. The first thing I do is be like, right, what's this YouTube that everyone's been talking about?
And then it's just that, like, there's an extended sequence where she tries to pose as the school bully's mum to get him out of being expelled and go to military school, because then he'll give her a Wi-Fi router. And then she's constantly trying to get in touch with this guy called Homer, which I really struggle to take it seriously. I think Simpsons is sort of, you can't, without a sense of irony, call anyone Homer anymore, I don't think.
Apart from that really old Greek guy, you're allowed to call him Homer.
Well, yeah, but the original. And then she does a weird sort of ritual in an abandoned house, and then what? So she was born in, I don't know. Turns out she's like born in 1987. Is actually a Russian girl called Nina who drowned, and then got in touch with some cosmic entity, and has come back for whatever reason. It's fucking mad.
Yeah, like, just like the sort of description of like what the show is. It's a science fiction supernatural fantasy show, and that just sounds like it's gonna get messy, because that's so much like stuff to pull together.
Yeah. I was sort. It was weird because,
like until all the like, until the ritual at the end, I was like, I've sort of got this somehow. Like, I was like, okay, cool. She's been kidnapped. They've done something, given her her eyes, like kind of scratched up her back a bit, and now she can see that this makes sense. And now she's going to do a weird ritual, which, okay, why? Why do they have to leave their doors open? What is... I don't... And then the Russia stuff happens, I'm like, I don't even...
Yeah.
What?
the whole leave your front door open thing annoyed me, because it's like, well, they're all school kids, so their mum and dad's just going to be like, oh, house is fucking cold, why's that? Oh yeah, front door's wide open, let's shut that.
I don't know, maybe it's like a symbolic act. So it doesn't matter if the door actually stays open, but as long as they leave with their door open, it's probably fine. Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't really seem to have played much of a role. Like,
I imagine it probably will though. What's odd is, I didn't find the mystery of where she's been and who she really is and everything, because she keeps introducing herself as the OA, and I didn't find that sort of interesting enough as a central mystery to to try and explore and get to the bottom of. But then once you got into the stuff about her past life, I was like, okay, now it's getting a bit more interesting. But so generally, I'm not a massive fan of this. It felt a bit pretentious and up its own arse. But I really, really loved the turn, like as you mentioned, where it just says Netflix presents. It's like, okay, this is like a prologue. Now we're getting into the actual story. I really liked that bit. I thought that was quite nice, having that right at the end where the titles, because they're not credits, because they are titles, because you've still got the drama playing out while all the names add up.
Yeah. But the thing that is it now just gonna, the rest of the season just focus on the past lives and
then right at the end go back to that ritual?
Yeah,
that's what I think is gonna happen.
But I mean, I love me a show with some flashbacks. But these seem like more than flashbacks. They seem like most of the story will actually take place.
Yeah, which is quite nice. But then it just makes me think: well, did we need all that stuff at the start? Did we need the whole bit? She's been missing to be an hour-long sequence, and then have 10 minutes at the end where it's like, okay, this is us getting into the actual show.
Unless maybe it sort of splits the time like 50-50, so it does like you get some modern day stuff that sets up like some important lesson she learned in a previous life. No, I'm thinking of Arrow. That's exactly what Arrow does. Yeah, like I'm sort of interested, but at the same time, like I don't think I enjoyed it enough to like watch the rest of it.
That is exactly how I felt about it, and also quite disappointed that the titles are going up, and I'm looking at the cast and everything. I'm not recognising any names until it gets to Jason Isaacs, who's not in it.
At least not in the first episode.
No,
I think he turns up later on.
That's a shame, because I do like Jason Isaacs.
Yeah, but there's like some characters that turn up to this ritual that I don't think she really interacted with at all.
No, they just sort of randomly decided to show up. I was like, why the fuck would you do that?
Like, I understand the teacher that she spoke to turning up.
That actually,
because they had like a really weird conversation.
Yeah, the teacher's story was actually probably the most interesting thing. That and the fact that I realised, like, as soon as he came on screen, that her adoptive dad is Herschel from Walking Dead. And I was like, ah!
Yeah, I was just like, wait, I recognise him. Who? Oh, okay.
Oh, but also, Brad Pitt's executive producer. That was weird. Just seeing his name pop up.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice that. I don't really pay attention to the producers.
But like I've said to you like loads of times, like both just in conversation and when we've been doing this podcast, the whole mysterious identity recovering who someone believes they are or are not, I'm really done with it. I cannot stand that narrative anymore. The whole
this is slightly different because she knows
but it's
who and what she is, but she hasn't.
Else.
She just won't explain it.
So
I think it's a bit different to the sort of amnesia card.
Yeah, it is a bit.
That normally gets played.
It's it's just dressed as a different thing. It still feels to me like, okay, now we got to find out. Okay, why did she disappear? Where's she been? Oh, when the cosmic stuff happened, so she's telling the story and she goes, "Oh yeah, I was a kid and I drowned and I died." Then, when that. Whatever that person was, the god, the cosmic entity, whatever that woman is representing, when she appeared, did you have the reaction of, oh, that's cool, or did you have the reaction of, oh, for fuck's sake?
I sort of had the, what? Like, I was sat just watching it and just going, and just making all of those noises to myself, just going, I don't think I
the-
understand something. I think I'm missing something. Unless the A stands for angel.
The trouble that I think
That's as far as I've got. Yeah, like
the original
Dexter,
angel or
but
something.
a bit
Yeah.
shit.
I think the trouble we that have, like, I think this is, well, maybe it isn't, but I feel we have a problem with this pilot more than any other pilot, is that I think, I'm not against a show doing something huge, like presenting the story as one thing and then having something in the end that turns it completely on its head. So having all the stuff like it's a mystery where she's been, all that, and then going into the cosmic stuff, I don't mind that as long as it's like a good story. But I think if it's like that little 10-minute bit is introduced just in the pilot right at the end, and where we're probably not going to go any further, I feel like we're not going to judge the overall arc, or that moment to then be developed in the overall arc is going to stand out a bit more as a what the fuck moment, rather than, okay, no, the story is actually about the cosmos or, supreme beings, anything like that. Very difficult when the show presents that idea to us in a 2-minute scene right at the end of the show to be like, okay, no, this is actually about this.
Yeah,
do you know
like
what I mean?
I think without watching the whole thing, it would be hard to like say, oh, this overall very good. Pilot, bit confusing. But then
Yeah.
I feel like the whole sort of
Yeah.
point of like episode 1 is to sort of make you go, I would like to see more of this. But it hasn't. I don't feel like... I feel like I'd quite like to sort of
No.
read it.
Yeah, that's exactly what the episode finished, and I thought, do you know what? I'll probably go on the Wikipedia and just be like, yeah, let's see what this is about then. But I don't know what it is. I didn't care enough. I didn't particularly like any single character. Like, particularly the fucking bully kid.
And he has that
fucking
that weird
Also-
scene, like with his dad.
really weird. There's a couple. So there's a scene where he's just finished having sex with his girlfriend and he's still naked, and his dad just strolls in and goes, "Hey, hello, how's it going?" And no, he's not wearing anything. Don't go. And then the OA's adoptive mum, she's having a bath. She's just in there with her.
Yeah, it's all
What's
a bit
going on?
sort of like, I don't know, weird, but and also the thing that I think maybe annoys me the most is that Prairie doesn't seem that freaked out by the fact that she was blind, but now she can see. And no one seems to be a bit sort of like... No one asks, why the fuck can you see now? They just sort of go...
Yeah.
Like, it comes up once and they just go, she was blind. And it's just like, no, that's a much bigger thing than just a passing statement of just... She used to be blind. It's like, okay, cool. So have they switched your daughter with someone who isn't blind and just made her look the same? And also, they wouldn't need to do that much because like 7 years is a long time. But like, I think it would be an interest, maybe a film. I'd definitely watch it if it was like a 2.5 hour film. Because it's an interesting story, but I think maybe it could do with being shorter. I don't know, I'm half tempted to watch more of it to see how it plays out, but
I think the pilot is feature length, so it's 71 minutes. But then I think the rest of it goes down to half an hour. So perhaps it would be easier to see
maybe
where it's going. I don't know. I wasn't captured. I wasn't captivated by it. It was quite interesting just to see it folding out on screen, and it feels very otherworldly and weird.
it feels kind of like
But I wasn't.
a not as good Stranger Things.
see, I wouldn't even call it that, because at least with Stranger Things you have a clear narrative. With this, it's very all over the place, and there's no sort of tangible storyline as such. This, I felt, was just a series
Unfortunate
of just,
events.
you know, set pieces thrown together.
At some point, it's been on the list for ages. I've already seen it. It's great.
So I think we're pretty much agreed on that, aren't we? That it's, you know, I feel like I think there is some worth and some good work and interesting art in there. I just don't think it was.
Yeah,
me.
I think if the rest of the episodes are half an hour, I think I can maybe spare some time to watch.
It is.
Like 4 hours. Well, not even 4, like 3.5 hours of TV. I'm like,
but she keeps referencing the Voy as well. The Voy. There's seemingly I don't know, a race of people or some aliens or whatever. There's an entity called the Voy that she keeps going on about. So I don't know. Anyway, should we shift off of the OA, because my mind hurts. Also, we might be both interrupted at a couple of points during this. Well, hopefully, we're both awaiting parcels of the same thing, and they might show up halfway through this.
I can just edit out. I can edit stuff like that out now. I've done some practice. No one noticed all of the weird stuff that happened in the last podcast. It's all gone.
There was that episode where you went to answer the door, and I shouted some weird stuff down the microphone, and I think you put it.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
Okay, so Timeless or American Doctor Who.
Like this, I really like this.
What a fucking great show this is! I love
me some fucking time travel. And like, so for time travel shows, I already have 2 that I quite like. I have Doctor Who when it's on, and Legends of Tomorrow, which they do pretty much the same thing. They sort of have their token events in history that they go and visit and fuck up, and it's great. Yeah. I'm imagining these guys aren't gonna, like, I don't know, bring dinosaurs into the modern age, because that would be insane. Also,
I don't think they have the budget for it.
No, they did the Hindenburg in the first episode. That's not like a low budget thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the special effects weren't amazing, but like Doctor Who, I think that adds to the charm of it. So basically, it's a historian is recruited by this company. He's sort of like almost an Elon Musk figure, isn't he? So he's been making these cars, isn't it? And in secret, he's made
2 time machines.
Time machine.
Because the first one would be unattainable if they didn't have the. Yeah. They had the really nice shiny one that gets stolen, and they have their piece of shit budget.
And then they get the clunky piece of shit. But I like that one. It looks like an eye, and it's got these weird belts that sort of, you know, rotate around. I really like the look of it. And then the shiny new one is stolen, much like Back to the Future. There's like some terrorists, they break in and they kidnap one of the scientists, who presumably he's like the lead scientist on it or whatever, and takes the time machine. So then this historian is recruited, as well as a soldier and a coder, which I thought would, you know, that would satisfy you quite a lot. They're recruited by the company to go after these people who stole the original time machine, and they find themselves at
my
the
favourite
site
bit
of
is
the
like
Hindenburg disaster.
the soldier character who just goes, okay, cool, so where did they go? And someone just goes, not where, but when. It's just like,
yeah, you've got to have that line, haven't you?
And it turns out it's like the Hindenburg.
As soon as the show starts, you see the blimp, and I go, "That's the Hindenburg."
Yeah, because it's
straight
the
away,
only,
I know exactly what it is.
Like, it's the only sort of notable one.
Noticed, historically, yeah. But then I followed that up with I got really worried because there's all these characters. They're all looking at the Hindenburg, and some bloke goes, Look how big that is. It's amazing. And then this woman just turns around and goes, oh, men, always obsessed with the size of something. And I thought, oh, fuck, it's going to be one of these shows, isn't it? With terrible dialogue. But that was the only real clunker of a line, apart from the whole...
But that's,
not
the not where but when is a trope that I love so much from time travel shows.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and then so they go. It's just these three adventures in, trying to. That's it, because the Hindenburg doesn't explode and it lands. So then they're like,
yeah,
oh,
it's,
what the fuck?
Like that, their sort of like moment of like, oh no, he's here to like crash it worse than it exploding. But then they start to notice that like, the guy's come back and is like in charge and being like, okay, cool, like lift those ropes up so they don't get dragged through the water and like and he saves it to try and blow it up when there are more important people on it. And what I like is that the Coda guy is like, oh, I've got an idea, why don't we just save everyone? And the historian's just like, no, we can't change history because like fuck things up in the present and we don't know how it will change things. But
that's something I do quite like, because unlike Doctor Who, they have like, well, I suppose Doctor Who does do it occasionally, but it feels like there is a genuine, we can't interfere too much sense, because stuff has to go.
I think
as it did.
Doctor Who skips
Otherwise we'll
that
change
entirely and just
history.
goes, we'll do what we want. Like Legends of
Yeah.
Tomorrow, they sort of go, there are
gonna say,
definite consequences. Like I think one of the team, he talks to his younger self and goes, you should spend more time with your wife. And he gets home and he has a kid that he doesn't remember, who remembers him as a father, and he's just like, I guess I have a kid now.
Sorry, there's a kid that's just walked past my flat and he's armed with 2 Nerf guns and he's got his hoodie up and he's walking like fucking Ezio.
Is there
It's
another kid he's
brilliant.
looking for? Is he just stopping like the Parcel Force van getting in?
Yeah, no, he was. He was chasing his sister, so that was quite nice. Yeah, but I guess if you lived in a time machine, you sort of don't have to worry about the consequences. But then,
I don't know. To be fair, he does get
everybody.
most of his
But
companions killed, so it's not like it matters to them.
But so yeah, they do the whole thing. They blow up. Well, the Hindenburg is destroyed,
And with less
just in a
people
slightly
dying,
different manner.
literally one person dies.
It's 2. No, it's 2. It's that Kate Drummond person, and then he said, I thought this is quite enigmatic. It's one man who could not be identified, and I feel like that's going to come back and bite them on the arse in a future episode. They're going to find out actually who was there and died. So I reckon it could be that soldier guy, because the soldier's obsessed with the woman.
Oh yeah, because it was the
him of his dead wife.
it was the guy they killed when like they were confronting the dudes.
Oh
yeah, so he died, but he dies like the day before, and they just associate. They're like, oh yes, these two things are clearly related, even though they happened on different days.
But hang on, if he couldn't be identified, but he's still got 3 bullet holes in him. Yeah, no, he died.
I'm sure that's not suspicious. It's probably fine.
We definitely shouldn't report this. That'd be totally fine. But no, actually, there was another line in it that I thought, actually, that is a fucking bit of writing genius. Is when so the soldier's taking a gun with him and he shoots, and then they end up captured. And the historian, I'd love to remember characters' names in this, but I can't. The historian reprimands him, saying, "You should not have brought that gun." He's like, "Why? We're going to need a fucking gun. We might have to defend ourselves." And she goes, "Yeah, but we're surrounded by Nazis. What if one of them takes your future gun to the Nazis? They sit and works out, a way of creating better weapons." I thought, actually, that's a fucking good point.
The thing, this and Legends of Tomorrow are quite sort of similar in how they deal with like, don't take future stuff to the past and lose it. I think they've had an episode where maybe they might have accidentally armed some Nazis with some like future technology. Just like,
Which I've played Wolfenstein.
I think
that's
they
not
end up
good.
with like some laser rifles for a bit. It's pretty intense.
Oh, cool.
And so,
how many episodes of this?
I think it's like a good amount.
16.
Like,
I feel like I've seen adverts for this on like E4. Is it shown on E4?
May well be.
But yeah.
However, I
I
think
I've seen it. Anyway.
Oh no, I was just reading that. I thought it had been cancelled, but it's actually been renewed.
Good, because I think I'm gonna carry on watching. Also, Johnson from Peep Show's in it,
And
that
also,
made me laugh.
Historian's mum is Oliver Queen's mum.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't recognise her because I've only seen a few episodes of Arrow.
I mean, she's a lot less
I don't
dead
really
in
remember
this,
her, to be
especially
fair.
after they fuck up. Like they change.
Mm.
But what I love is that when shows sort of show you the butterfly effect for reals and sort of go, and they're like,
Yeah.
we sort of didn't change too much. It's probably fine. And then it just has like this. It doesn't, because then they get back to the present and they're like, history is set now. That's what happened. They're just like, oh, did you find him? No, but like we changed how the Hindenburg happened, and they're like, what? Like they have no idea that there was like this whole sort of like 36 people died, not 2. Like, well, I mean 1, but 1 coincidental, completely unrelated death. But then her mum was ill before she left, and she comes back and she's like, Mum, you're all like okay and stuff. Where's my sister?
You're alright. She goes, what sister?
So
Dun, dun,
do you get the
dun.
feeling that they're gonna go back and
Shit,
try and like she's gonna try and fix that, or just gonna have to accept that, oh no, I've accidentally read Lucy's sister, who is erased from existence due to the episode, like the events of episode 1. Okay, but she's listed as a recurring character. But I wonder if they'll go and like try and undo some of the stuff they've done, or if they'll just sort of go, it's fine. Let's go change some more history.
I'm not sure they would, because if they did that, you could just continually go in the same
No, because they
loop
at the
on
end of the
same
episode they
event.
touch on that. They're like, oh, we have to go back and like set everything right and make sure it happens exactly how it was meant to. And they go,
Fix it.
we can't, because then there'll be 2 of us in a time that we were never meant to be in anyway. But I'm interested to see what other sort of historical stuff they touch on.
Events they go to. Yeah, I really like that, because it feels like they could do like a sort of a monster of the week, time zone of the week.
Which is sort of I
feel
think
to the
Legends
episode-
does
to
that.
the show, so that'd be quite good.
They've done a bunch of past stuff. They accidentally erased Star Wars from existence once. And that was like...
Oh, I know, I remember you telling me about that.
Stuff like that is a great... Because they started that episode with like 2 of the characters being like, oh, Star Wars made me interested in science and Indiana Jones made me interested in archaeology. And then they meet George Lucas while he's still at like film school. And someone's trying to get like something that he has as like a prop. And so they try and kill him and he's just like, man, films are dangerous. I'm going to go do something else. And they're like... So, but then they don't. They become disinterested. Well, I think it changes something in their like future. Like he doesn't have all of his like sciencey knowledge. The other one doesn't have all his historic knowledge, and they're like, well, we need George Lucas to make these films.
That is such a good concept for an episode. I think actually I might have to seek
also
that one
find
out
the one
and
where they
just
meet
watch that
Tolkien as well.
Because
I was watching
Oh,
that and I was
shit,
like,
okay.
damn.
Also, something else that I noticed about this Timeless is this. I think the first 2 actually. Certainly the first one. Yeah, no, the first 2. Directed by Neil Marshall, who made Dog Soldiers, which was my favourite film for a very long time. I was very pleased to see that he's, direct and do it. He's done a few Game of Thrones. He does a lot of the, the massive battle episodes of Game of Thrones. And actually, I've just read he's doing the Hellboy.
Oh, they're rebooting Hellboy,
which would be cool. Yeah, he wanted to do a solo Black Widow movie, but no, he's doing Hellboy.
Yeah.
Now. So
do you think they'll do future
cool.
stuff?
I mean,
like going into the future in Timeless
with. I don't know if they did. There's not really much point in taking a historian, is there?
Unless it's to make sure that they don't
what happens, but then
repeat history. I don't know. Like, unless maybe she just have like a good instinct for like what not to change. I don't know, because future stuff's always a bit weird. Because like Legends has done future stuff a couple of times. Like they went to future and they met Old Arrow, and it was like they got Stephen Amell to do it, and he had like one arm missing, and he was just like, and he was old, like properly old, and was just like, and he was like, I think Sarah just goes, oh, like what happened? Where's everyone else? And he's like, well, after you left, they all kind of fucking died, and it's like, oh, it's brutal, but it is always a bit weird when they do future stuff, but that's also a comic book universe. This is sort of trying to be a bit more real with time travel.
So will you be continuing?
Yeah, I think I probably will.
Timeless.
Because time travel can never get boring.
It's just so much fun, and I think because I watched the OA last night and I watched Timeless this morning, and I think just the fucking ocean of difference between them. It made Timeless feel a bit more refreshing. It was like, look, this is basically Doctor Who, but it's an American, and it's slightly different premise because at this point there's no aliens. But I really, really enjoyed it. So I think I'd be surprised if this isn't in my top 5.
Oh, really?
When we do
like this, I mean, to be fair, this has been a strong year.
Yeah, I
shows.
loved it. We've done some really good stuff, but looking ahead at next year, that's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of stuff that I've wanted to watch for a while.
What I like is that we're both using this as an excuse just to watch things that we've been like, oh, I can't justify taking time to like watch this and see if it's any good. But now we're like, oh, we have to. It's like a a requirement.
It's not a job because we're definitely not getting paid. But if we were, also that was another thing in Timeless. That something was a bit too real. It was a bit right at the start where the historian lady, I think her name's Lucy, she's like, oh yeah, the history department, they're getting rid of my tenure. And her sister's like, oh, that's all right, we'll be okay. And she turns to it and goes, oh, what, we're all going to live off your podcast, are we? He's like, hang on, fuck off. Yeah. So yeah, positive for Timeless, thumbs up. Probably going to watch a bit more of it.
Oh wait, maybe OA, if like I don't have anything else to watch.
Maybe not. That's not going to happen.
I know,
Stranger Things has just come
out
again.
I think
I'm still watching Gilmore Girls.
Yeah,
and
since the last time I've also finished Gossip Girl as well. Yep.
Oh yeah, I was right, wasn't I? Straight away.
I thought it was too convenient.
I told my friend that
it to be him.
Well, I told my friend Hannah. It was her wedding last week, and I told her, I was like, that Gossip Girl, because I knew she was massively into it. She was like, yeah. I was like, I guess who it was straight away. And she was like, how did you know? I was like, well, it was fucking obvious, wasn't it? He was the only one that was around for all the things.
But I think they have like a whole explanation, because what you like for that from the first episode, like, yeah, it makes sense. But then later on, he outs stuff about himself, his sister, and like basically sabotages all of his own friendships through Gossip Girl, while being Gossip Girl.
I suppose in order to maintain the secrecy of it, would you not? If you're getting to that point, would you not think? No, you know what? I don't think this is worth it. Was
that he overheard someone going, "You're not someone until you've been talked about," and he was like,
Fuck me, that's a
"Yeah,
appalling
but like
mantra.
rich people."
Yeah. So next week. Next week? No,
Next
fortnight.
time.
Next episode
Black Mirror.
on the show. Yeah, it's not a cheerful one. That Black Mirror one, I think if it's
Yep.
yeah, I've seen that one. It's one with the Prime Minister, isn't it? Good. It's funny. Utopia, I haven't seen.
So I remember seeing
I'm
adverts for
looking forward
Utopia
to watching that.
when it came out, and like never saw it.
Is the Utopia the one where a lot of the marketing was yellow? And
Yes,
it's based
I think so.
a comic shop. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm looking forward to that. And then the episode after that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
finally get
rewatch the
love.
first episode because I can't remember. I can't remember what happened.
I think I will too. I'll have to watch it just because I want to. So. All right.
Well,
Cool.
Yeah. So maybe OA, definitely timeless.
No. Yes. And our Steam links didn't
And
turn
good.
up during this.
I don't.
That's a
It
shame.
means I don't have to
Oh.
edit out any weird breaks. I'll just leave in the stuff saying, "Oh, there might be breaks," but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was doing it as like a PSA. So.
Yes.
Right. Cool. That was fun.
Until next time.
Bye. Goodbye.